Hello, my name is Christina and I'm a homesteading homeschooling mom of 3, and this week I decided to join in with Jessica from Three Rivers Homestead's Pantry Challenge 2024. It is where you would try to clean out your freezers, your refrigerator, and your pantry as best as possible to prepare it for the spring and summer months whenever you're going to start preserving things again. It gives you an idea of what you might want to preserve this year, what you want to grow, and maybe some things that you don't really want to do again. So I have a few things that I'm really trying to do in my pantry. I've got some items in there that have been in there for a couple years now, and I definitely want to cycle through those. I think that if we just don't like something and we've tried it, then I'll probably just go ahead and give it to the chickens. We just started on Sunday, this challenge. It's Friday night now, so you will see several meals, and I did make a video earlier where I said that I was going to go ahead and allow myself a $5 budget per person per day in the house for things like dairy and fresh fruits and vegetables, because it is important to me to have some fresh options. But after I did the math, I was like, whoa, that's way more than what I usually spend per week, considering that we've got our stuff in the freezer and in the pantry too. So for me, I definitely still want to have options for fresh fruits and vegetables and also dairy. We have a dairy cow, but we aren't getting very much milk right now, so we do have to supplement for the milk and cheese and yogurt and that kind of thing. Anyway, we'll just dig in. Here's a peek into our pantry, which is right outside the kitchen, and it does have one of our chest freezers in it. We also have a cellar downstairs with more canned goods and a couple chest freezers down there, as well as our refrigerator freezer in the kitchen. So we have lots of different things to work with here, and I look forward to getting this more organized and clearing out some of the stuff that we really should be using up. And I mentioned that eating healthy, fresh fruits and vegetables is important to my family. Getting enough dairy. I'm really trying to help the kids make sure that they have well-balanced meals, so I do not want to let that slide. Sunday night, we had a pork and pineapple stir fry using canned pork, canned pineapple, teriyaki marinade, onions, frozen diced squash, frozen peppers, and some rice. This meal fed 2 adults and 5 kids. One kiddo didn't like it, but they don't like pineapple, so that's fair, but the rest of us enjoyed it. It is Monday morning, and my kiddo has been asking for some waffles, so I thought, what a wonderful way to get in some fresh fruit. I did make some homemade whipped cream because I had some heavy whipping cream left in the refrigerator from the holidays. So we got out the waffle maker. We just used like a great value mix, and I had some eggs from our chickens on hand. It was delicious and I believe nutritious. Leftovers for lunch for the win, yay! And for dinner, we are having roasted chicken. That is our chicken there that we butchered in the summer, and some potatoes that we had stored in the cellar. I am really bad about using potatoes, so that is something that I also plan on doing for this challenge. Last year, I am ashamed to say, we ended up getting rid of a lot of potatoes because I just find them to be a little bit of a hassle to clean, and they take a long time to cook, and I just don't have the energy for that, or maybe I don't plan as well. But anyway, so we're gonna have that roasted chicken with potatoes and carrots, and I have several vegetables in the refrigerator that I'd like to use for a side. And for dessert, we're using some soft wheat to make Snickerdoodle cookies. I've never tried this recipe before. I must admit that the first batch I got out in time and they were delicious, but the second batch, unfortunately, I left in too long because we were eating dinner, and I just forgot to get up and go get it. So those were pretty crunchy, but they were pretty good. It was nice because they had the same cooking temperature, so once the chicken came out, I went ahead and put our cookies in. 4 out of 5 of us really enjoy this sweet kale chopped salad kit from Taylor Farms. We got it at Walmart. If you would like something easy and delicious to freshen up your dinner, I would try that. It's just really good. And maybe it makes you feel better about having cookies for dessert. Okay, Tuesday morning, I pulled from the pantry some things to make some pears and cream oatmeal. Primarily, I'm making use of the oats and the jarred pears. In this recipe, it does call for some water, but instead of adding water, I just use the juice from the pears, and I also do use less sugar because the syrup, I do have like a light syrup on the pears already, so I thought that was a little bit redundant. So I used about 3 cups of oats, and then I need 3 cups of water. So I'm going ahead and it was about like 1.5 cups of syrup that was in the jar, and then I'm adding another 1.5 cups or so of water for, to make up the loss. And now we add 3 cups of milk, a dash of cinnamon, a pinch of salt, some vanilla, and some cream for Pears and cream oatmeal. And then you get something that looks like this. And I think I forgot to tell you, hey, go ahead and add that quart of pears, but that would be important. Make sure you put them in there so they get warmed up. Leftovers for lunch again, but today I am going to go ahead and grab some carcasses from when we were processing chickens from the freezer that I have been meaning to make into chicken broth, and just pick the rest of the chicken off that is still on there that we did not actually break down. One thing I love about this challenge is that it just really encourages me to finally use up the little bits and bobs that are still remaining in our pantry after a long time. It helps me to get it organized. I'm just really thankful. So we'll be having some of those little bits of chia seeds and quinoa that are left, although if you've had chia seeds, a little bit goes a long way there. I've got lots of jars of honey here to work with, which is fantastic. I never made that kefir. I don't know. It's one of those like Amazon regret purchases, but lots of things I'm finding in here I forgot about, like a piece of a little bit of a pudding packet I used in a recipe, and I've got some old beans in here and some currant jelly that didn't set up that I keep thinking I'll use as like a marinade or something. I've got some evaporated milk that needs to go. Anyway, I will hopefully be using up some of these things within the next several weeks, and I'm excited. Tonight for dinner we are having a steak salad. Here I am chopping up some potatoes that I'm going to run through our air fryer. These are potatoes again that we've harvested, and I'm just so happy to be using them. It is definitely going to be a goal to use up lots of potatoes in the coming month. Okay, and for Pantry Challenge, steak feels pretty luxurious, right? But we just have a few cuts of this particular cut in our freezer, and it's kind of an odd amount, so I thought if I did something like a steak salad, I could stretch it a little bit, especially with some French fries on the salad. So that's how we're rolling. There's nothing fancy about this. We're just going to chop up some romaine and dig in the fridge and see what other vegetables might go okay in there. The winners are green onion, the very controversial mushrooms, and some tomatoes, cucumbers, and carrots. And then the steak. And I have to be honest with you, the cutting up of the steak and putting it on the salad was way more time consuming than I imagined. Well, we don't make a lot of steak salad around here, but this was not my cup of tea, but we did it, we survived. And it really was good. Okay, so I forgot to make a video because it was kind of crazy, but the power ended up going out, and it was like, I don't know, almost sub-zero temperatures, sub-zero temperatures. And we had that chicken that was boiling on the stove, so we hurried up and went ahead and picked it, and my husband actually took all that broth and set it outside in the snow in a pot for me for a while so he wouldn't have to put it in the refrigerator, because I was worried about it like warming up the refrigerator, with our power being out. But then he went and hooked up the generator because he takes such good care of us, and we're so blessed to have him. Anyway, so I didn't get that on video, but you will see that we will be using those ingredients later this week. Every lady deserves a husband like mine. He beat me to breakfast this morning and made us sticky bun inspired pancakes. The base is from a Great Value pancake mix, and then he added like a butter and pecan cinnamon mixture to make this, and then he also made us some eggs. So I don't know if you saw my short, but there is a dish that I made for dinner that I was really not looking forward to. It was using this green tomato sauce, and I was blown away with everyone's response at dinner time because I just thought people would be having a fit. I started by sauteing some green peppers and onions from the fridge that needed used up. And then this is the chicken and potatoes that we had the other day, and that's the chicken that I pulled last night off the stuff that was boiling. And I'm going to go ahead and pull as much of this off as I can, and I'm going to add this to the peppers and onions in a bit. Maybe one of the most satisfying sounds ever. Okay, so I'm adding to this a green tomato sauce. It is from unripened green tomatoes that were left over at the end of the season, and it's a little bit tangy, but it does have some sugar in there. I don't really remember what all was in it. I just know I had it one other time, and the family was not a fan. And I added some chicken to it. Several handfuls, just whatever I thought looked good, whatever I thought would make it hearty enough. I think I ended up doing 1.5 pounds of pasta with it. And the ingredient that I believe saved it,
a cup of cream, and then I also added to it a cup of Parmesan cheese, but it wasn't the good Parmesan cheese that actually gets all melty. It's the stuff that was in the jar. And I think that if I would have used good Parmesan cheese, it would have been even better. I do think it probably needed some salt as well. Okay, it's starting to look pretty good, pretty creamy and delicious, right? Okay, so we served it with about 1.5 cups, or not cups, pounds of spaghetti, some beet pickled eggs that I had in the fridge, some cut up pineapple, and some leftover kale salad. Oh, and then a little bit of leftover steak salad.
What do you think of dinner?
Good.
Good. Yeah, so when asking for honest opinions, it was okay, or I liked it, or can I have this for lunch tomorrow? I just thought they wouldn't like it. Okay, Thursday. So Thursday was kind of a weird day. We were busy doing some stuff throughout the day, and then suddenly remembered we had to go out of town for this meeting. I just had completely forgotten about it. With all the snow, we weren't going anywhere, really doing much. So anyway, I had to like hurry up and pack dinner, which was just like Nutri-Grain bars and sandwiches and apples so we could have something to eat and some water bottles and stuff. Oh, and for breakfast that day, the kids just had some bagels and things that were in the pantry with some cream cheese. And for lunch, we just continued to have our leftovers.
It is Friday morning and we are having some Dutch babies. We have almost everything that we need to make Dutch babies, but we are short a couple eggs, so I get to use some water glass eggs today, which is fun and exciting. But really just using what we have on hand here. We've got the vanilla and our sugar and eggs from our chickens and stuff. We are currently feeding 6 at our house right now, so I like to make 3 Dutch babies. For that amount. I did make a short about how to make Dutch babies, so I'll try to remember to link that here for you if you've never made them before. One thing that is different about what I did today is I did pull some wheat that I ground here at the house from our freezer that needed used up. We just had that little bit in there, get that jar out, clear out some space. And it is not all of the wheat in this recipe, all the flour in this recipe is not freshly milled, or that's not so fresh, right? Because it was in the freezer, but some of it was. And I do think that it added a little bit of a crunchy texture to the Dutch baby, which was kind of good. So it was nice having a little bit of that in there and then using the traditional all-purpose flour for it also. So we've got those in the oven so the butter can melt, and we're adding some vanilla. And once the butter is melted, I do my best to divide the batter between the 3 pie plates, but it's a little bit hard. In they go. And out they come, so puffy and delicious. They are like one of my favorite things to make. They're just so beautiful and fun, and I like the subtle sweetness to it. We ate ours just plain today, but sometimes we do whipped cream or syrup or fruit or all 3. And to serve them, I just cut them up into 4ths or 8ths, depending on the size of the person eating them. For breakfast, we had the Dutch babies. For lunch, we are having leftovers, and here I am preparing our dinner that's going to simmer on the stove for a while. We're having a delicious chicken noodle soup. I don't know if you can hear it, but I've had a bit of a cold, and a lot of people in the house have colds too, so I thought I'd go with something that might help us to fight all those yucky germs and use up some of those ingredients that I got from the freezer. I made that chicken broth, and I picked the chicken, and so we are having more chicken. Bay leaves, garlic, parsley, salt, pepper, oil, onions, carrots, celery, chicken broth, and then of course that chicken that I pulled. I do sometimes, after it's been simmering, add some lemon juice to freshen it up or brighten it, as they say, before serving, but I forgot to do it this time. But it was delicious. Everybody loved it. We also made snow ice cream, which is easy and delicious and just a fun tradition. You may want to check out that short. I'll try to leave a link, or maybe it'll just pop up for you. But it was good. I'm not going to walk you through it here, though. Okay, so we've got that soup on the stove simmering, our chicken noodle soup, and I decided to go ahead and make some biscuits with it because I was kind of hoping to do bread, but I ran out of time. Do you ever do that? I don't know. Happened to me. Anyhow, mistakes were made. That flour I had accidentally put in the freezer, and I'm not sure you're supposed to put a self-rising flour in the freezer, but I was putting other flours in the freezer that I knew I was going to save for a while, and I didn't want to worry about bugs or anything, and that one went in there with it, but I wasn't sure if it didn't rise so well because of that, but also the flour is a little bit out of date, so this flour may not be the best, even though it is Hudson cream, which is the best. I'm also putting in here some bacon grease from our refrigerator instead of some shortening like I typically do. I sometimes do like half bacon grease and half shortening just to kind of use it up and give it a little bit of a different flavor. But I could tell when I was mixing it up, there just was something about the texture that just wasn't right. It was a little bit too dry, and I was hesitant to add more liquid than necessary, but it just wasn't going right. I did do some evaporated milk from our pantry. As you know, there was some stuff in there that needed used up. So I've never had evaporated milk in biscuits either, but I just thought I would go ahead and give it a try. And I was also kind of low on the milk in the refrigerator. I think we'll have enough for like our coffee tomorrow and maybe for somebody to have a cup of milk, and that'll be it. So it was nice to be able to use the evaporated milk in this particular recipe. I don't know if I read it or saw it somewhere, but I thought that if you added the biscuits together so that they were touching, they would kind of help each other rise. So that's what I try to do. Sometimes I put them like in a ring like this all around the baking pan or stone, and then other times I bunch it all together. And I feel like when I bunch it together, they don't bake as evenly, so I do try to spread them out if I can. I also only doubled the recipe for the biscuits today, and I often triple it, so we'll have leftovers. But with the milk situation, I didn't, and just trying something new, I didn't want to do that much. For the noodles, I used some of those Rogue lasagna noodles that were in my pantry. I know you have them too. This was a great way to get some noodles in my chicken noodle soup. And we canned some deer meat to give our dog for dog food, so he's happy with that. And for dessert tonight, I'm making brownies. I have this random bag of mix that was started for brownies that we never used, so I thought today would be a good day to use it up. So as you can see, I've just got so many hodgepodge things in our pantry, and I'm really just trying to go through the things that are kind of annoying or strange or out of place and just get rid of that stuff first, because I think it helps to make it feel more comfortable and easier to work with. So yeah, just trying to use your resources wisely, making your home a more comfortable place, and trying to feed your family well. These are all wonderful benefits of doing this pantry challenge, and it's definitely an easier thing to tackle in the winter, and it's good timing because it just helps you to plan for the upcoming gardening season.
I'm so glad that you joined me today. I hope that you loved this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see what we're going to do next week, just go ahead and subscribe. And thanks. Bye.